Great Divide's out after what must feel like a long old time of getting it ready. Is it fair to say this is a lot later coming out than you'd have liked?
Yeah, I think so. I think if it was up to us, it would have come out like a year and a half after our last album.
It's probably like 2 years ago.
Yeah, or
from
3. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
since then. Sorry, you're right. But I don't know. But it was more sort of the momentum that we built up on our last record sort of dictated the amount of time that we took to record this, because by the end of the album we'd like had maybe 10 times more the amount of like listeners and fans and stuff than we thought we could ever have. So there was slightly more pressure, and we just needed to get it exactly right to our standards. So that's why we sort of took our time.
No, you did the album in halves, half in the UK, half in America. Tell us about the two different experiences.
They were so different, weren't they?
So different. Yeah, I don't know where to start. It was, I guess you start at the start. We recorded at Rockfield in Wales, just outside a little village called Monmouth, and we were there for 3 months, recording with Gil Norton and Dan Austin, and we lived at the studio. Like our bedrooms were like 10 meters away from the studio door, and we were just like so immersed in like the classic way of making an album that we'd always dreamed of doing, and it just sort of, that was like the building blocks of everything. And I don't know how we ended up getting from that stage to deciding that we had to go to LA. I think we were maybe in Wales for so long that we again got slightly like lost in the whole creation of it, and just needed a bit of a sort of slap to the face to like wake us up a little bit. So even the idea of travelling to finish it was quite a kind of rush, and taking ourselves literally out of our comfort zone and working with someone that we'd never worked with before.
We'd recorded so many songs as well by that point that I think we just had no real idea. We kind of got a bit swamped in like music, and we had all these finished songs, but we didn't really have any idea what would go together to make up an album. And we didn't even know if we had all the pieces, and it was just that it started to kind of get a bit, it was so creative and it was such a focused time that it felt like we just kind of got lost in the whole thing, made too much.
Yeah. So we went to LA or Topanga to find ourselves.
But it was the same kind of thing. We were actually out in the middle of nowhere there as well, up at the top of a mountain. So it was kind of just like, in many ways, the exact same thing as we had, but somewhere else. It seems ridiculous now. Why do we do that?
Whatever happened, it worked for us anyway.
You did the second bit of the record with Jacknife Lee.
Mm-hmm.
What did he bring to?
Jacknife brought mass confusion and panic to all 4 band members, and just I think he had a bit of obviously an original sort of view or listening point on the record, because we'd essentially recorded a whole album. He then listened to it and went, this is what's missing, this type of feel or this type of thing, and he sort of gave us that little final bit of direction to bring out in us what we knew we wanted to hear, but we couldn't quite collate between the 4 of us. And yeah, it was weird. We didn't, he worked so differently from what we had done for the months previous. Like there was no like mixing desk, there was no like old like big amazing sounding room that had all these amazing albums recorded in it. It was just like a really raw experience, and I guess a slightly more like modern approach.
When did you settle on the title?
When we were there, actually, we were in the car, I think, going to get food or something like that, and we were driving down, and all of a sudden you just kind of...
Yeah, I don't know, it was like a weird dawning realisation, because I don't know, I think it makes more sense to name the album when it feels finished, and I think we, when we were there with Jacknife, it was starting to feel like we were concluding it all, and it'd been recorded in 2 halves, written in so many different places, and it was literally like a divided feel to the whole thing. And then we started sort of reading into what the songs were about. Then there was this whole theme that matched that name, and it just kind of made sense.
Did you think at the time that people would ask you questions about Scottish independence when you came up with the title?
Yeah, we did, but we thought, let's just be brave and not let that influence what the record was really about and how it felt to make it, and because we tried our best to make an album that will hopefully stand the test of time and won't just reflect a little short part of what's going on just now, but it just felt right to call it that, and we did know, we were like, man, people were probably going to read into that and we could find ourselves in some unstable ground trying to answer the question, but it's worked out so far for us.